We're already 5 months into 2025 and cold emails are changing drastically once again. Email service providers continue cracking down with new spam updates. There's an increased sensitivity to new domains being blacklisted, and it's never been easier for your prospects to mark you as spam, ensuring that all of your campaign emails are going straight to the junk folder. And as small as some of these changes may sound, we've gone ahead and reshaped the way that we're managing our outbound campaigns, and the results have been absolutely worth it. So in this video, I'm going to show you 20 different tactics that we used to help our clients book 220 sales calls in just April alone, close $128,000 in revenue, so that you could stop struggling to generate leads and start filling your calendars using cold email. All right, so jumping into the 20 tips, I've actually broken these out into 4 different sections, and the first section is going to cover list building. So diving into tip number 1, here is our updated tech stack for May of 2025. We're using Ocean.io to find company lookalikes of our clients' best customers and run targeted lookalike campaigns. We're using Crunchbase to find company data intelligence. We're using Clutch.co to source B2B service companies. We're using Store Leads to find e-commerce companies and e-commerce data. We're using BuiltWith.com to find technology stacks that are embedded on our prospects' websites. We're using Apify to really scrape all sorts of different things. One example is if you want to scrape Apollo.io for a fraction of the cost that you would through Apollo, the platform itself, you could actually use an Apify Apollo scraper and do it for a fraction of the cost. We're then using Trigify for LinkedIn engagement scraping. So if you want to scrape, posts by certain people or comments or likes or replies or anything like that, Trigify is your go-to. We're using RB2B to de-anonymize website visitors on our clients' websites. And then we're using Clay.com really for all sorts of email enrichment and custom, scraping and lead enrichment workflows. Clay, if you haven't checked it out yet, I couldn't recommend a tool any greater than Clay. But moving on to tip number 2, finding intent signals through your scraping workflows is absolutely king. And what's really cool is that you could use tools like Perplexity, or you could use Claude to actually find niche data sets, or you could find hidden intent signals online through random areas and really just come up with unique scraping workflows that you would never think about on your own. And if you could find a good angle, a good foot in the door, and then scrape that data and put them into campaigns, you're going to have a much higher performing campaign than any spray and pray method. Tip number 3. We're leveraging AI to actually segment our lists across different markets and untapped markets that our clients might not have realized they should be reaching out to. And you could actually use it to take it a step further and then segment those different markets into job personas. So what this allows you to do is you find different markets that you could reach out to, and then you find different job personas within those different markets to really build much more highly targeted lead list. And then that allows you to eventually go and craft unique offers that are specific and speak one-to-one to all those job personas within those markets. More on that in the following tips. Tip number 4, we've updated the way that we're going about validating and verifying our emails. So in May of 2025, we are, of course, still using Million Verifier to validate our emails and make sure that they're either verified, risky, or bad. But then with those risky emails, we're running it through 2 different tools, which are Enrichly and Lead Magic. Now we're taking those catch-all or risky emails, and it's allowing us to figure out if any of those emails are actually validated and verified. And the reason why we're running it across both Enrichly and Lead Magic is because no tool is perfect. And while Enrichly might assume that a catch-all email is bad, Lead Magic might pick up and see that that email is actually valid. So this double catch-all validification method is allowing us to essentially expand and reach out to more valid leads that we might not have if we relied on just one of those. Tip number 5, automated workflows are an absolute must if you want to stay ahead in the game with lead generation. And so with Clay, you could actually now schedule enrichments in advance. So instead of you having to go ahead and fill up your campaigns with new data every week or so, or every 2 weeks or every month or so, you could actually schedule these enrichments to find new data from directly within Clay and pretty much set up evergreen campaigns that you never really have to pay attention to because they're continuously scheduling these enrichments and sourcing new data. And with the automated workflows you could do within Clay, you could push those directly in your campaigns and keep the campaigns running with uncontacted leads at all times. Tip number 6, as it relates to list building, is building custom scrapers has never been easier than it is today. You don't actually have to have a coding degree or like be an engineer of any sorts or know how to do custom developments. Because I know for a fact that I'm building lead lists 24/7 for my agency here at BuzzLead, and I don't know how to code. But the cool thing is when you're using tools like Perplexity or Claude, you could actually have it create your own Python scripts and then scrape unique niche data sets across the internet to find the best data that other people aren't going about and finding. And when you can find hidden, niche, untapped data, your campaigns are gonna crush because those people aren't getting contacted nearly as much. Now, moving on to the next section, we have offers and script optimization. So tip number 7, we like to use Claude to actually segment our lists and then identify specific pain points for each of those personas within those segmented lists. And then we're using Claude to also craft unique offers that speak one-to-one to each of those personas in those different segmented niches that we're going after. You could take it a step further and write one-to-one emails to each and every prospect on your lead list, but I'll speak more on that here in a second. Tip number 8, the I help X do Y by Z Hormozy style framework. It's a bit outdated and it really doesn't work as well as it used to. And in order for you to really strike a home run on your campaigns, you need to do more and make sure that you're actually doing research on each individual prospect and crafting unique one-to-one offers to each prospect on your lead list if you really want it to resonate. What we're doing is we're A/B split testing 3 different offers for every new campaign that we're running for a new client of ours before we go out and start sending high volume emails to assuming that we have the right angle. And what I mean by this is anytime we launch a campaign for the first time for a new client, we actually split test 3 different angles of how we're positioning our offer. Angle number 1 is providing some sort of lead magnet or really good giveaway that we can provide as a hook to get these prospects to engage with our emails. So it could be me sending out a list of 5,000 highly targeted leads for a prospect that I'm trying to show that we can, build good lists for. The second angle would be the why you now method. And that's essentially just highlighting a pain point that you know that your prospect has, and then tailoring your offer around that pain point as the solution to help them fix that problem. The third angle is really just providing relevant market insight. And so that's just doing market research on each of your prospects and seeing what trends are going on that are specific to them in their specific industry, and then just providing insights that they might not have known about. And if you could provide good, relevant insights that are tied together with an offer you're presenting them to fix a potential problem they have, it works really well. And essentially, once we run these 3 different split tests, we find a winning angle. Once we find that winning angle, we scale heavily into it and start sending a lot more volume. Now, if you've gotten to this point of the video, you're probably taking notes and getting ready to start implementing some of these tips that I've shown you. Or you're more confused than you were when you just started the video. And I don't blame you, because cold email has gotten incredibly complicated here in May of 2025, at least if you want to do a good job with it. And so if you'd rather stop working in the business and contacting leads and start working on the business and closing sales calls, then make sure to use the link below to schedule a call, and we'll see if we can help you out with your outbound campaigns. Now, let's get back to the video. Tip number 10, we're having Claude actually write one-to-one emails to every single prospect that is on our lead list at scale. And how we're doing that is we're performing deep market research on every company and every prospect from within that company that is on our lead list, so that we could understand exactly who the company is, we could understand exactly who that prospect is, that persona from within that company, and then we could tie that together with our offer so that we could customize and provide unique one-to-one solutions of how our offer can help them specifically. Tip number 11, you want to be building out outcome-oriented call to actions and really just make your call to action so strong that prospects feel silly not responding to your emails. And that could be done in the form of a really good lead magnet or some really good market insight analysis that you're providing to them, or really just a strong offer that is so perfect for them. And long gone are the days where you just push straight for a meeting on your first email. In certain senses, you could do that and it'll still work, but really you've got to be a lot more strategic with these call to actions and make the prospect realize that what you have to give them is so valuable that they should definitely respond to your email. Now, moving on to section C, which is actually deliverability mastery as of May 2025. So tip number 12, we're setting up 60 to 100 burner inboxes across different subdomains. and we're allocating these inboxes across both Google and Microsoft. So what we're doing is we're capping the amount of emails that we're sending per inbox per day at 20. And you could go more than that, but if you really want to have your inboxes last longer than 3 months, we suggest capping your emails at 20 emails a day per inbox and making sure that you have 60 to 100 burner inboxes. So that way you could send good volume, you could have good deliverability, and ensure that those email accounts are lasting longer than 3 months. Tip number 13. If you really want to stay ahead of the game, you've got to have private IPs for your email sequencer. So using a tool such as Email Bison, where you have actual private IP sequencers where you're actually sending the emails from. And then for your domains, you want to be masking those domains with a private IP as well. So rather than sharing an IP with millions of different users who are using a shared IP pool from domains that you purchased on Pork Bun or Spaceship, you actually want to go ahead and set up your private IPs, point your domains to that new private IP, and then make sure that the email sequencer you're using is also private labeled with your own IP. So that way you're in control of your deliverability and where your emails are actually landing. You're removing any of the guessing games. Tip number 14, you absolutely must warm up your domains for at least 14 days minimum. And you also want to have spare inboxes handy because ESPs like Google and Microsoft have made it much stricter than ever, and they're actually monitoring how old your subdomains are. So if you just purchased a new domain and you start sending emails right away and don't give it at least a 2-week warm-up period, you're going to be automatically on blacklists and your emails are going to get flagged as spam before you even send those out. So regardless of what all these different infrastructure providers out there are saying, where you don't even have to have a warm-up, it's all bogus. You need to make sure that you have at least 2-week warm-up period before you start sending physical emails. Tip number 15, managing your do not contact list and spam reports is really more important than ever because people are much more click happy with spam reports, and Google and Microsoft have made it easier than ever because they're actually recommending that you mark something as spam if they don't recognize who the sender is, aka you sending these cold emails. So make sure that you're keeping good track of your do not contact lists, and then also just make sure that you're noticing what these different spam reports are saying so you could see, is it your copy that you're doing? Is it abuse on your sending patterns? Whatever that may be, but make sure you're keeping track of this. Now, the last section covers follow-ups and OmniTouch AI response approaches. So we're doing a couple of different things here with how we're actually doing our follow-ups and then responding to prospects and just overall orchestrating our campaigns. So tip number 16, do 2 to 3 step campaigns to max. You want to make sure that you're not reaching out to people 4 or 5 times because people who didn't respond to emails 1, 2, and 3 maybe probably don't have any interest in your solution, so there's no point in reaching out to them because they're much more likely to mark you as spam. So use shorter sequences, reach more leads, and also just make sure that your account, and it'll also allow your accounts to last much longer and ensure that you have much better deliverability. Tip number 17, we're leveraging AI to actually categorize leads. So what we're doing is we are having AI actually go and categorize these leads. Whenever we receive a response from a prospect, AI goes and it will categorize it as interested, not interested, or pricing, or whatever those categories are that you feed the algorithm. And it allows us to not only categorize these leads much quicker, but we also have pre-templated responses that AI can then go and send out to the prospect. So it's allowing us to more accurately categorize these leads than a tool like Smart Lead might do for you. And it's also allowing us to pre-template our response and respond to these prospects much quicker. And a fact for you guys is that if you don't respond to a lead that's interested within the first 10 minutes, the likelihood of them actually responding once you do follow up with them drops by 50% just by not responding within that first 10-minute window. Tip number 18, we're using AI, and it kind of ties to the tip number 17, but we're using AI to actually pre-write the email responses that we have to objections or responses that prospects send to us. So what we're doing essentially is we have the top 5 listed objections that we typically get across all of our clients. And if we receive a response from a client using our knowledge base and the pre-templated style responses that we typically do for prospects, AI will go and craft a hyper-relevant response that fits that prospect, and it allows us, again, to just respond in a much quicker manner, much more accurately, and then you don't have to worry about getting fatigue when you're responding to prospects. Maybe you're burnt out because you had a ton of responses. AI will actually pre-draft that reply, give it to us for approval, and then we're just responding, we're clicking approve, and then it goes and sends it out. Tip number 19, you want to be retargeting old interested leads in many different ways. So rather than just relying on cold email alone, you could actually take those interested leads and retarget them with different ads, or follow up with them through LinkedIn or newsletters. And essentially what we're doing is we're keeping track of all interested leads regardless of if it's a now decision or a 12 months from now decision. And then we're repurposing those leads in other funnels. And it allows us to really just stay at top of mind for those people and continue nourishing them through other channels where you might be posting content or providing really good value, for example, with your newsletter. Tip number 20 is we are leveraging Claude in our copywriting for our follow-ups to actually strengthen our offer, provide more context, insight, and really paint a clear picture of how exactly our prospect would benefit from a further conversation in a one-to-one manner. So what I mean by that is with email number 1, we might reach out, point out a pain point that this prospect deals with, tell them how we could help them with our unique offer that's one-to-one to them. But then in our follow-up emails, we're taking it a step further. And with the research that we've done on these prospects beforehand, Claude will then go and provide added context and essentially provide different insights that are only relevant to that prospect only because of the research we're doing on that company and on that prospect. And essentially you can provide added context in your follow-ups that strengthen your offer from your original email and really just validate the reasoning for why that person might want to meet with you. And so that wraps up the 20 tips. Hopefully you found some valuable insight out of those. There's a lot more that I could go on, but I don't want to be on this video for an hour and a half, nor do you want to hear me talk for an hour and a half. Now, these tips are made specifically for people who are already running cold email campaigns, but not getting great results from them. However, these steps are very general, and without having full context on how to implement these steps specifically, you're not really going to be able to take full advantage of them, which is why I put together this next video that actually shows you how we implement these 20 tips into one of our clients' campaigns. I'll see you there.